Good morning, and welcome to AircraftPost's Rousseau Report. I'm Dennis Rousseau, and welcome to this very windy day in the Rocky Mountains. Today we have sustained winds of 40 knots, gusts up to 55. Welcome to Colorado, and welcome to our session. In the 1980s, we basically had three categories of business jets: small, medium, and large. Small jets like the Lear 35 and Westwind had a small cabin, usually 4.5-foot cabin height, and a range of 1,500 to 2,000 nautical miles. The medium category, which consisted of aircraft such as the Citation III, Lear 55, Falcon 20, had a cabin height of 5 foot 7 inches in a range of 1,800 to 2,500 nautical miles. In the large jet category, Challenger 601, Falcon 900, and Gulfstream's G4 provided a cabin height of 6 feet and a range of 3,500 to 4,000 miles. A new category was introduced in the 1990s, the super midsize. It provided large cabin comfort, coast-to-coast range, and most importantly, medium jet operating economics. There were a number of OEMs jockeying for position in this $16 million market segment. IAI's Galaxy entered service in 1999 and was subsequently rebranded the G200. The Hawker Horizon, introduced in 1996, entered service in 2007 as the Hawker 4000. And the Falcon 50EX, successor to the very successful Falcon 50, entered service in 1996. And our subject aircraft today, Bombardier's Challenger 300. It was announced in 1999 as the Continental and entered service in 2004. Early aircraft sold in the high 14s to low 15s, and over the next 10 years, Bombardier took the lead in the super midsize market and delivered 450 Challenger 300s, far outselling the competition. The aircraft has a 2,900 nautical mile range, which makes coast-to-coast in North America nonstop, and to Western Europe eastbound. And depending on winds and temperature, it can also come nonstop back at a 0.8 Mach with 4 passengers. Clearly a winner in class. However, by 2010, Gulfstream introduced the G280, and Embraer the Legacy 500, both capable aircraft in the super midsize category. Now, as opposed to reinventing the wheel, Bombardier capitalized on the 300's fuselage and incorporated improvements throughout the aircraft, as they've done previously with the Challenger 600 and the Global Express fuselage cross-sections. As I pointed out in the past, when looking at these various iterations from certain angles, it's difficult to tell the aircraft apart. In this photo, we can't tell whether it's a Challenger 300 or its successor, the Challenger 350. Until we view them from a different perspective. Then the differences become apparent. The winglets on the 300 are at a right angle, and they're much shorter, whereas those on the 350 are canted 45 degrees, adding 5 feet to the overall wingspan. This enables the aircraft to climb direct to 43,000 feet versus the 300's 41,000. Also, the cabin windows are 20% larger on the 350, increasing ambient light in the cabin. Both aircraft are powered by Honeywell's HTF 7 series engines. The Challenger 300 has the early version, the HTF 7000, that produces 6,800 pounds of thrust. 350 is powered by the HTF 7350 that generates, as the descriptor states, a little over 7,300 pounds of thrust, once again providing an increase in operating performance. As a side note, these are the same engines that power the Gulfstream G280, the Embraer Legacy 450-500, and the all-new Citation Longitude that just entered service in 2018 and will also compete quite favorably in the super mid category. As with all Honeywell engines, the company offers a maintenance service plan called, appropriately, MSP. This can cover all scheduled and unscheduled maintenance, engine removals and reinstallation, rental engines, all for a fixed hourly rate, which currently runs about $350 per engine per hour. All 7 Series engines are full FADEC and operated on condition, which essentially means there's no fixed time for an overhaul, although they are inspected at 400-hour intervals and cater to on-wing maintenance, which greatly reduces downtime. Now, as with any new engine, the HTF 7000s had teething problems. And when the Challenger 300 entered service, they had events of engine combustors cracking, causing premature blade wear, which, without MSP, could easily cost $350,000 out of pocket. Fast forward, and today they're having corrosion issues with inlets, fan bypass, and thrust reversers, which can cost upwards of $200,000. The Collins ProLine 21 was introduced in 2000, featuring LCD screens on a platform that could adapt and grow over time. The Challenger 300 was one of the first business jets to use the system, and in the Bombardier lineup, it's used in the Challenger 605, the 650, as well as the 350. The early system installed on the 300 is on the left, and as you can see, the attitude indicator uses the older symbology, whereas the 350 is much cleaner and spread across the screen, displaying blue for the sky and brown for the ground. The 350 system is called ProLine 21 Advanced and includes synthetic vision and multi-scan radar, as well as dual FMS, flight management systems, IRS, and dual integrated flight information systems, or IFAS. As a side note, multi-scan radar provides a range of over 300 nautical miles from the nose of the aircraft. It's fully automatic, whereas earlier systems may reach out 50 miles and need to be adjusted to capture weather in a select direction. This entire system is retrofittable to the 300, which basically give the operator the same attitude indicators as the 350. It also upgrades the FMS from the 3000 to the 6000 series and offers synthetic vision as an option for a total cost of around $500,000. The fuselage cross-section on the 300-350 provides 6 feet of headroom and its center line 7 feet 2 inches of cabin width, which is on par with other aircraft in the super mid-size category. The baseline interior features dual double club seating consisting of 4 singles forward and 4 singles aft, with dual cabin monitors. Now, when you consider there's a 10-year age difference between the 300 and 350, the 300 came standard with 15-inch monitors, and the 350, 22-inch. This is an early Challenger 300, which depicts the smaller 15-inch bulkhead monitor and double club seating. And please take note of the sides of the cabin window on the right, which we'll come back to in a moment. Switching gears to the 350, you'll notice the larger 22-inch cabin monitors, and the majority of operators opt for the aft 3-place divan in lieu of the 2 singles, which also provides an additional passenger seat. However, in order to carry 9 passengers, the lab seat needs to be certified takeoff and landing. The Challenger 3 series comes standard with a forward galley. The one on the left is from an early 300, whereas the one on the right is from a 350. And as you'll notice, there is no forward right-hand cabin bulkhead on the 300. Like any new aircraft, concentration and focus is on weight savings. And by deleting the cabin bulkhead and door, you save about 80 pounds. Because the 350 has a 1,300-pound increase in basic operating weight, completion weight is not of great concern, so you'll see the majority of 350s with a forward bulkhead incorporating a pocket door. And regardless of weight, the majority of 300s also incorporate the pocket door and bulkhead. Another difference between the aircraft is in the PSU panel, where the panel on the 350 is segmented, adding to a cleaner appearance. Now we'll circle back on the cabin windows. You'll notice the gap between the lower windowsill on the Challenger 300 and the increased size of windows on the 350. Small difference, but huge for passengers. In the world of business jets, there's always someone that wants something just a little different, and in this case, the buyer wanted a conference group. You'll notice the smaller width of the seats compared to those in front, as well as the curved bench to allow ease of movement fore and aft. And by the way, the bench is not certified for takeoff and landing. Now, when you have a 5-foot 2-inch cabin width at the floor, installing a conference group is akin to putting 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag. But out of 450 aircraft, 2 are equipped with this arrangement. All Challenger 3 series have an aft lav. And similar to the PSU panels, the 350 features a larger vanity mirror with inlaid LED lighting, which provides more light and adds to a much cleaner, modern look. The toilets are chemical, whereas some of the competition have vacuum lavs that eliminate odors and spills. You'll also notice the full-height door that leads to the 106 cubic foot baggage compartment that's fully accessible in flight. So factoring the competition at the time, how does the 300 compare? As mentioned earlier, the 300 beats the competition in total number manufactured, but for the most part, there are pluses and minuses to each. One drawback to the 300 is the 7,500-foot cabin altitude at 43,000 feet. Yes, the Falcon 50EX shows 8,000 feet cabin altitude, but that's at 49,000-foot ceiling. The major airframe inspection for the 300 is accomplished every 96 months or 8 years. The first airframe inspection also requires gear inspection and costs around $325,000 in up to 5 weeks of downtime. The second 96-month airframe inspection, appropriately named the 192-month, also requires a gear overhaul versus an inspection and costs $500,000 in up to 6 weeks downtime. This is a great testament to the fact that as aircraft age, they become more costly to maintain. As of February 2021, there are 20 available Challenger 300s on the market, with ask prices ranging from $6.9 to $10.9 million and an average market time of 278 days. In the last 6 months, 16 aircraft have traded at a range of $5.4 to $10.6 million, showing an average 157 days on the market. From a value retention perspective, a 10-year-old Challenger 300 shows 43% of its original cost new, which is actually pretty good considering 2,000 G200s are trading at 10% of their original cost new. Looking at the 350 on a competitive landscape, once again the aircraft shows greater production numbers than the rest, especially when you compare it to the Legacy 500's 87 aircraft in service, and it's been in production as long as the 350. Conversely, the Citation Longitude has only recently entered service, and Textron, who has historically been known to be the leader in production, add to the fact that it has near 3,400 nautical mile range and lowest cabin altitude in class, but we'll get into the Longitude in another session. Moving on to the 350 resale market, there's under 2% of the fleet, or 7 available aircraft, with ask prices ranging from $12.9 million to $16.9 million, and an average 199 days on the market. There have been 7 transactions in the last 6 months, with selling prices ranging from $10.8 million for a 2014 year model with 2,400 hours total time, up to $17.5 million for a 2019 year model with 190 hours total time. From a value retention perspective, the 350 is faring well, with a 67% retention of the original cost new in just 5 years, compared to a 5-year-old G550 and Global 6000 only retaining 50%. I trust this has been an informative session. In the next episode, we'll feature Gulfstream's G550. Now, always remember, please subscribe if you want to know what's coming up next, and stay in touch. And for AircraftPost Rousseau Report, I'm Dennis Rousseau, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you and have a great day.